Hello everyone, this is your host Irsa Khalid, and I welcome you all to another exciting and interesting episode of Conversation with a Diplomat by Diplo TV. My dear fellows, in international relations, there's a concept often called quiet diplomacy. It is the art of influence without spectacle, the power of persuasion without headlines, the ability to shape outcomes not through noise but through nuance. Some of the most consequential diplomatic victories in history were not announced in press conferences. They were crafted in measured conversations, built on trust, intellect, and timing. And that is precisely what we explore in this program. Conversation with the Diplomat is about the great minds behind diplomacy, the personal convictions behind national positions, the quiet resolve required to represent a country in an increasingly turbulent world. So, let's explore the journeys of the individuals who practice it. Today, we speak to a diplomat whose career reflects this very principle. I'm honored to introduce Her Excellency Dr. Asima Rabbani, Ambassador of Pakistan to Philippines. Greetings to you, Your Excellency.
Thank you, and same to you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Viewers, let me tell you more about our esteemed guest. Dr. Asma Rabbani currently serves as the Ambassador of Pakistan to the Philippines. With a career in Foreign Service of Pakistan spanning over more than 2 decades, she brings a wealth of experience across multilateral diplomacy, economic statecraft, and bilateral engagement. Before assuming her present responsibilities, Dr. Rabbani served as Director General for SIFC. She also led the OIC, demonstrating her command over multilateral platforms and development oriented diplomacy. Her overseas assignments reflect both diversity and depth. Most recently, she served as Deputy High Commissioner in Canberra and has also represented Pakistan in New Zealand and Jordan. At headquarters, her work spanned key regional and functional directorates, including Europe, the Americas, Afghanistan, and Middle East. Today, we look forward to a conversation that explores the professional milestones of an eminent diplomat and also the ideas, experiences, and reflections that have shaped her remarkable journey in the service of Pakistan. Dr. Asma, welcome to Diplo TV. My
Thank
first
you.
question to you is diplomacy is a demanding profession, but there's always more to a person than their title. Before we talk about your career, could you tell us a little about your personal journey and what truly drives you?
Thank you. Thank you for having me again. Uh, I think every diplomat has a life outside of diplomacy, and mine also. Um, I think what is important to me is that learning new things and learning about new cultures and learning what's going around the world. So that always stayed with me. Even I remember as a child waking up in the morning, I was excited to reach out for the newspaper to know what's happening around the world. Uh, and growing up, my best friend was my grandfather, who was a journalist. So I loved talking with him on global politics I think, while we were walking for longer hours. So I always loved that. Beyond that, what drives me is the desire to make a difference, the desire to make a difference in the life of our people. And I want to somehow, and that always stayed with me, to contribute significantly to make a change in some way in the society. So, and that is what guided me to the public service as well.
Right. So tell us a bit about your background, your educational background specifically.
Okay. Yeah. As a child, interestingly, I loved mathematics. D- I was always drawn to numbers. I was always drawn to logic. And interestingly, my first master was in computer sciences. So I love the creativity and the logic of computer science. But at that time, when I did my master in computer science, there were very little opportunities outside. So th the kind of opportunities that I were finding were not one that excited me at that time. And also the other thing which I realized was that somehow I loved programming, but I could not switch off my mind. Even while I was sleeping, my mind was working and I could never go into deep sleep. So then I thought maybe this profession is not for me, and at the same time, some of my peers, they were appearing for the civil service exam. And I thought, okay, let me try for it. And I was very clear right from the very beginning that the only service that interests me is the Foreign Service of Pakistan. So luckily, I was able get into the Foreign Service. So here I am now.
And now, do you find solace in serving your country and representing your country around the world?
Yeah, it's an it's an honor. Really, it's an honor. I
Yeah.
remember when I went to Jordan on my first assignment, and for a short time I was CDA because the ambassador was not there, and flying the flag. It felt such an honor when you are flying the flag of your country, and now as an ambassador, it's an honor when the flag of Pakistan is flying at my residence, at my car. So it's an honor.
And you have done PhD in philosophy, if that is true. So how did you switch from computer science to foreign affairs, serving in foreign services of Pakistan and doing PhD in philosophy? What's the drive behind that?
Uh, it's the PhD. In PhD, it's a topic, and the topic relates to the international relations. So my topic was basically the collective security order and the challenge posed by a particular kind of actor, like nihilist non-state actor. These are, for example, the Taliban that we talk about,
Right.
these things. And collective security order is the global order. So it is called PhD is called Doctor of Philosophy, just in
Yeah,
general. So
right.
that's not
Right.
exactly philosophy. But
Okay.
coming back to how I switched from basically master's in computer science to then this field, when I joined the Foreign Service, I I mean, global politics always interested me. And as I told you, my mentor was my grandfather, and he was a journalist, and I used to discuss with him global politics, and he taught me many, many basic concepts. So that global politics always interested me. But then maths was my passion, so I just went for that degree. But when I joined the Foreign Service, and I after doing my first assignment, I thought that it's the time to have a formal education. Then I went to Australia and I did my in master in international relations and masters in diplomacy. So when I went there, at that time, I had two young children, and that was, I would say, the most difficult time of my career, my life, in a way that I was working full time, and I have two young children, and because of the immense responsibility, the job responsibility, and the parenthood responsibility, I was barely keeping my head above water. And the thing that I enjoyed the most, like reading newspaper, I didn't even have time for that. But when I went there for study, and I just it was very difficult, to be honest, because often it was like, okay, I am doing my assignment all night, and in the morning, getting my boys ready, leaving them to childcare or school, and then going to the university to submit my assignment, attend the class, and then come back and start everything again. But I enjoyed it because this was the first time I was studying for my own self. It was for my own somehow to it. I mean, I was already in foreign service. Foreign service does
Right.
not require any further
Right.
degrees, but for my own development.
For
And
your own horizon, you wanted to
yes,
broaden.
yes, and also what as I told you, because overwhelmed with the motherhood responsibility and the job responsibilities, I kind of lost that student spirit. So when I studied that, I felt like I felt that I had that intellectual vigor back again. I had that student energy back again. And so I love that. And I promised to myself at that time that I will never let it go. And that is why after again going back and serving a couple of assignments, when I felt that, oh, the job is again, I mean, getting like boring or routine something, or I'm getting too bureaucratic. I thought, no, it's
Right.
the time going back to
University.
studies and to just have to get that intellectual rigor back. And so I went, and it's to re-energize myself, and yeah, for that purpose.
It's a very interesting way of energizing yourself and keeping yourself young, I would say, because you feel like a young student when
Yeah, I
you
feel like a student-like spirit.
right,
I
exactly.
still feel that.
Um, Dr. Rabbani, we all have that one moment where our future path suddenly becomes clear. When did you first feel that representing your country was what you wanted to do? And most importantly, what attracted you to the ever-changing on-the-move life of a diplomat?
Okay, I think that that was not a particular moment. It was, I loved, as I told you, the computer programming, and I loved that field.
Right.
But somehow I felt that this is not for me, or it did not excite me that much. So then I decided to take exam, and luckily I got into the foreign service, and that was the moment. And then I always enjoyed learning about new cultures, new things, and global politics, what's happening around the world, and understanding that. So that was one reason about the nomadic lifestyle. Um, I do not take that as a nomadic lifestyle. I take it as an opportunity to live in different countries and
Absolutely.
experience different culture, and and try to see what can we, I mean, we as a Pakistan can get out of that and apply that to our society.
Absolutely. When you look back at your younger self entering the foreign service, what mindset helped you survive and grow? What personal principle has guided you through every posting?
I think maybe that it's the mindset that I can do it. It's like the can do it, and the mindset that what I have found that there were many things that came along the way, and people said it's very difficult. It's very difficult. When I did myself, they were not that difficult actually, and I feel that the mindset is that that nothing is. That difficult if you apply your focus, and if you try to give it proper time, and if you work hard, so nothing is difficult. So basically that kind of mindset guided me.
Okay. So, even with decades of experience, growth never really stops. What are the personal or professional ambitions you are still looking to conquer in the chapters ahead?
um, I think in terms of I won't call it ambitions or growth in terms of assignments. Okay, everyone has ambition, or okay, can I get a better assignment? Can I be posted to that country? And these are important, but the I won't call it as an ambitions. So my ambition is that I just want to make a change, however small. I want to make a change to the society, and I want to make some contribution for my country. So I don't know how much, how will I do that, but whatever, in whatever small manner we can, and I want to do that. And I have been doing that since since joining my service. But that is something that is more important to me.
Okay, so as a woman, I want to ask you that how did you manage your life along with kids and, married life with this work life? How did you manage all of that?
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. It's not easy. And I think many ladies in the foreign service, including myself, there have been times that were quite challenging for us. For me, personally, to balance the career of my husband and my own career and my children, it was a challenge. Uh, for my first posting, my husband went with me. After that, my husband could not join me. He had his own work, and I had to take care of my children and my work. Um, and you pay when the children are young. You pay the price of not sleeping at night.
Right.
For example, my older one was a colic baby, and until the age of 2, he was crying all night. And sometimes I was hardly getting 2 to 3 hours of sleep. Um, but it is what it is. So those were the times, difficult and challenging time. Even now, I mean, we have to, our husbands are somewhere else, we are somewhere else, and frequent movement, there is a challenge. But the way I'll put it is that life, after all, is a challenge, and everyone, if you are, for example, living in Islamabad and your husband is working in Islamabad, even then there will be challenges. So I take it that way. So it's a challenge, and we have to deal with it.
And you have made peace with it, with this
Yeah,
routine.
yeah.
Okay, and that's very wise of you. Uh, in your current posting, what have been your top priorities for advancing Pakistan's interests?
So in my current posting, I think Philippines is the only country which has been under the COVID restriction for a long time. COVID restriction remained here until 2023. And because of that, then things started reopening in 2024 here. And there were the mechanism that exists between our two countries for structured engagement, somehow that have been not in a way they were not active for quite some time because of COVID, and then because with the Philippines. I think that there were so many things happening in this region, Asia Pacific, for the Philippines, and so many things happening in for Pakistan in South Asia and the Middle East that
Mm.
there there is more focus over there. So to get some interest between revived or structured dialogue revived between Pakistan and the Philippines is something that is top of my agenda. So I have been able to, first of all, revive the Joint Economic Commission meeting that has been recently held, and now working for bilateral political consultations, which are upcoming. Hopefully this year, and then this year, Philippines is the chair of ASEAN. So we are expecting the visit of our Deputy Prime Minister for ARF meeting. So these are important for us. Then the other is on the economic and trade front. We want to have a closer economic collaboration between the two countries. There, for the last year, we have been able to make sure that in two of Pakistan's exhibition, exporters, rather investors or importers from Philippines went to Pakistan, and then Pakistan's exporter came to Philippines for two of the trade expos here. And then this year we are looking at increasing that collaboration. Philippines, there is one interesting phenomena is that IRI 6 rice variety has been given by the International Rice Institute in the Philippines to Pakistan back in 1960. And now we are exporting the same variety from Pakistan to the Philippines. So we are working to ease the trade restrictions on Pakistan's rice here. In 2024, Pakistan emerged as the third largest exporter of rice, financial year 2024. We are trying to get a formal, some kind of MOU signed between the two governments for the export of rice from Pakistan. And lastly, the community. Pakistan's community here is small, but it's quite vibrant. So Philippines is home to Asian Development Bank as well. So there are 50, 60 Pakistanis working for ADB based in Manila. And then we have some investors, Pakistani investors here. There are 10, 12 Pakistani investors in pharma sector in the Philippines, and then also in trucking business, about 40, 50 Pakistani investors. So they are quite well placed. And in addition to that, there are Pakistanis married to Filipinos based here. And some Pakistanis are based here. They're working for various organizations. 4, 5 multinationals have Pakistanis at very prominent position. So in addition to that, there are Pakistanis who you can identify as blue collar workers. They have their own challenges and their own problems. So my focus is to help them, to assist them, to engage with the host government for easing of their issues or resolving their issues. So these are some of my priorities here.
Great to hear. So, as you mentioned earlier, that you love exploring cultures and all. So, which is one thing so far which has you took interest in it, or you think that was unique in Philippines?
I think one thing that probably we should learn from Philippines is that they have very strong sense of community. No matter what happens, they will support their people to the extent, even if their people are on the wrong. For example, if there's an accident here, and if you're a foreigner and it's not your fault, and which is not good overall for the
Right.
image of the country, but I'm just explaining that in terms of the sense of community. And if you're a foreigner, it's not your fault. It's the fault of Filipino. Even then, the system will support the Filipino.
Okay. So
So
the system is also involved in this whole thing.
yes, the system is geared. There is a strong sense of community. Even the local staff that we have here, they have such a strong sense of community. They will support each other. No
Okay.
matter what happens, they will support each other. And the other thing that I would say that we can learn from the Philippines is that Philippines has, it's not unlike maybe many other countries where they progress in various sectors. Philippines have specialized in few sectors, in few niches which are their strengths. Their strength is because they are good at providing services. So they specialize in OFWs, nursing, and hospitality sector. So these are the 3 sectors. And then they have, because they are ASEAN member states, so they have somehow put parts in this, they play a role in a semiconductor value chain, and they install some of the parts, and that earned them about $42 billion of of revenue every year, which is a huge sum. So
Huge.
they have not, I mean, they have prioritized certain areas, certain niches, which are their niches. And then they have the other sector that they have done really well is the BPO sector, the call centers,
Right.
the processing, which is over the normally the countries like Australia, US, they
They
have their
outsource.
overseas offshore processing centers here.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that is a great lesson to learn from Philippines for us. Dr. Rabbani, many young viewers aspire to join the foreign service. What advice would you give them that textbooks do not teach at all?
So to those who want to join foreign service,
Right, young people who are aspiring to get here.
um, so in Pakistan, I think the only way to join foreign service is that you have to take exam
Right.
and take civil service exam, and then you have to prepare that, choose your subject carefully, prepare for that exam, and if you work hard, you will join that. In terms of why they should join foreign service, I think that if I have given a second chance to choose between any service, I would still choose for the foreign service. I enjoyed every bit of working here. There's a challenge. It's every 3 years, every 2 years, you're moving. There are so many opportunities of personal growth. So that will be my message.
Okay. So, in the end, what message would you like to give to Diplomat?
So uh, first of all, I would like to thank you for creating such a platform where diplomacy becomes accessible and human. I think
Yeah.
conversation like this remind us that public service is not distant, it is deeply personal.
Right.
And to the viewer, especially the young people watching, I would say this: do not underestimate the power of your characters. Skills can be learned and degrees can be earned. And but integrity, curiosity, and compassion, those are the choices that they have to make.
Right.
The world is changing rapidly. It may
Exactly.
feel uncertain as we are witnessing these days, but uncertainty also creates opportunity, opportunity for thoughtful, balanced, and responsible individual. So my message is to the young people is never stop learning, never lose your sense of empathy, and never believe that your contribution is too small to make. Real change does not come from loud voices, it often comes from steady, principled individuals. So stay motivated. And sometimes I used to tell that to my children is that nothing in this world is rocket science. Even rocket science is not rocket science. You just have to focus and work hard and you'll get there.
Yeah, and that's an excellent advice. You can't take all the pressure and say, okay, okay, I have to do this, I have to do that. How would I achieve it? You just have to be focused in your goals
Yeah,
and
yeah. Just put your energy and your mind to it, and you'll get through.
get there.
Eventually, you'll get through.
Thank you, Dr. Asma. It was a great conversation. I have personally learned from it a lot, and I could feel the warmth and the welcoming you, how much welcoming you are. So thank you for giving time to us and actually believing in this idea and coming to this program. I'm really thankful. That was it, and Abhi, I'll just put off the recording.
Thank you
And
so much. Thank you
yeah.
for inviting me, and thank you for the conversation.
And
Um,
we would
thank you.
love to collaborate with you on further endeavors, like you could write an article for our magazine or anything if you want and you have
Yes,
time
sure.
for that. So, thank you so much.
You're most welcome. Thank you so much again.